are 10 treatment admissions for abuse, 32 emergency department visits for misuse or abuse, 130 people who are abused or who abuse or are dependent on drugs, and 825 non-medical users. At one point in our lives, it's safe to say that we know or have known of someone who has a drug problem or is abusing drugs. Maybe it's you who has tried drugs, or maybe it's a family member or a relative or a friend. Regardless of who it is, drugs are a problem and can be prevented. On average, 46 people die from prescription drug overdoses each day. This is just for prescription drugs. And among 12 to 25-year-olds, only alcohol and marijuana abuse are abused more than prescription drugs. Dorothy Rhodes, a West Virginia mother, lost her 19-year-old son to the prescription drug overdose. Rhodes, like many other people in her position, said nothing or tried to do nothing to stop the addiction from taking over. In this graph, the graph shows that most prescription drugs are obtained from a friend or a relative, and the next is prescribed by a doctor. Once the drug is in the hand of a user, there is no telling what he or she will do with the drugs that they now possess. This map kind of shows the percent per 100,000 people who are abusing drugs right now. Minnesota's pretty low, but there's a lot of other states like Nevada and Utah that are up there for the drug abuse. According to Kristen Glein, teens are a huge risk with drugs, and with all the partying and recreational use of drugs, more addictions have emerged. Glein also pointed out that teens are more likely to try drugs and other substances due to the current debate of recreational use and medicinal use of marijuana in the dispensaries that are popping up. Although this is one reason why people become addicted to drugs, there are many other forms, and one addiction doesn't start by itself. Like there's a reason why it starts. And then this video is about people who have had drug addictions, and they were teenagers when they started their drug addictions.
I got them from friends in school. 2 friends.
A friend of mine.
My older brother's friends.
Bunch of girlfriends.
Boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend. Older guy.
My dad.
My cousin. My brother.
My older sister.
Older kids.
My buddy just said, you can do it every once in a while, it'll be no problem.
Told us it was going to be the best thing we've ever done.
Do it once, you'll be fine.
It's not going to hurt you, really. It's just a little pick-me-up. You can't get addicted to it.
They said it's not something that you're going to be taking every day. It's just something that you can take when you want to have fun.
Oh, this is going to be a fun time.
It's a fun drug to be on.
Makes you easier to talk to girl.
In each of these cases, it was someone they knew who had introduced them to their drug addiction. And sadly, that shouldn't be happening. Your closest friends and family should be supporting you, not pushing you down the path of addiction and possible death. In each of these cases, who told them it would be a bad idea to do that? Who said stop? Nobody did, because they kept going and they kept going. And they wanted to share their story so to get the word out so no one else becomes addicted to that. When people say they won't get addicted, that's a potential lie. With each new addict, questions come along with it, like when did it start, how old were you, and when did you first start using it, and why did you first start using it? More than 11 million people aged 12 or older reported using ecstasy at least once in their lifetime. Well, that answers one of those questions. How old were they? Most of them were 12. 12-year-olds are trying drugs nowadays, and how many of them will grow up being drug addicts? Aside from 12-year-olds, there are college students. College students are constantly pressured to do well in class, get good grades, the whole 9 yards. And what do they turn to, especially during finals week? They turn to drugs like Adderall or anything like that, marijuana. And once your body gets used to that, you have to fill it with something else, so most of them go on to like a stronger drug, which is a potential cause for overdose or death. So that's really bad. And then, in many cases, keeping up with the high can result in death, and we can reduce the amount of deaths and overdoses by recognizing what's going on. In my family, my cousin was addicted to meth, so he'd been battling with meth addiction for over like 10 years. And each time he would go to rehab, my aunt and my uncle would pay for him to go, and that gets super expensive. But it was so worth it in the end because now he's 2 years sober, so we're very proud of him for that. But there's always the chance of a relapse, so he had to completely change all his friends, like who he talks to, where he works, because he was working in a rough side of town, so he just kind of fell into that trap. And he has a 2-year-old son now, so he wants to stay clean for him, so that's awesome for him. Then, without the support of my family and my aunt and my uncle, there is no way that he would have been how he is right now. He would probably be like, I don't know, maybe 6 feet underground, and we would be crying at his funeral for him. With that said, the first step is recognizing drug addiction, the warning signs. These are just a couple warning signs for the physical health, and then this is behavior signs of drug abuse. And then psychological warning signs of drug abuse. The next step is recognizing when someone is in a current drug overdose. So that would be like if you're awake but you can't speak, extreme agitation or anxiety, or possibly having a seizure or a stroke. If you know someone who has a drug overdose or is addicted, intervene right away, because you don't want them ending up in a hospital or anywhere else. You want them to get the help that they need. If you were in that position, wouldn't you want someone to help you out? I know I would.